In a quarry in Lebanon, a single carved stone weighs more than 4 fully loaded Boeing 747s combined. It was cut by hand nearly 2,000 years ago, then abandoned half-buried in the bedrock where it still lies. Archaeologists didn't find it until 2014, hidden directly beneath another giant block already famous for its size. 90 meters away, 3 sibling stones of nearly equal weight sit locked inside the wall of an ancient temple. No crane manufactured today on any construction site in the world could lift this single block off the ground. So the question isn't whether ancient people were clever, it's how they moved something this size at all. This single, unanswered question has quietly challenged engineers and archaeologists for more than a century. And it matters, because if we're wrong about how they did it, we may be wrong about what they knew. By the end of this film, you'll see the leading explanation, and the one detail it still can't fully explain. The site is Baalbek, in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, once known to the Romans as Heliopolis, City of the Sun. People had worshipped here for centuries before Rome arrived, drawn to a hilltop already considered sacred ground. When Roman engineers began building the Temple of Jupiter, they inherited a site with impossibly high standards to match. In 2014, a small team led by archaeologist Janine Abdelmasih was mapping the old Roman quarry nearby. Working with the German Archaeological Institute, her team began clearing soil from beneath a stone everyone already knew. What emerged from under the dirt was a block no one had recorded, no one had measured, no one had named. They called it, simply, the Forgotten Stone, and its scale immediately dwarfed everything else at the site. Abdelmasih later admitted her team hadn't even reached the bottom of the rock to know its full size. That uncertainty is unusual in archaeology, where most major monuments have been measured down to the centimeter for decades. Here, a monolith weighing as much as a naval destroyer was still partly a mystery to the people studying it. To understand why this stone exists at all, you have to go back to the quarry itself, 800 meters from the temple. Stonecutters selected a ridge of solid limestone and began isolating a single block using narrow hand-cut channels. Chisel marks still visible in the rock today show workers cutting downward, then undercutting the block from beneath. It was slow, exact, and unforgiving work. One wrong strike could crack a stone worth months of labor. Nearby stands the reason they were cutting stones this large in the first place: the Temple of Jupiter's foundation wall. 3 matching blocks, each weighing roughly 800 tons, sit fused into that wall, known since antiquity as the trilithon. Somehow, Roman-era crews had already moved stones this heavy across open ground and set them with near machine-like precision. The trilithon proved the impossible was already possible, which makes the quarry's abandoned stones even harder to explain. Just beside the Forgotten Stone lies the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, roughly 1,000 tons and fully exposed for centuries. Local legend claims it grants fertility to anyone who touches it, a story with no verified historical basis whatsoever. Its real name in Arabic, Hajar al-Hibla, has drawn visitors and researchers to this quarry since at least the 1800s. A third stone nearby, called the Stone of the South, weighs an estimated 1,242 tons and was only identified in the 1990s. 3 separate giants, cut from the same hillside, and not one of them ever reached the temple it was meant for. That fact alone should stop you. Why carve a stone this enormous, then simply walk away from it forever? One popular myth claims the site was raised by giants under the son of the biblical Cain, punished later by flood. No archaeological evidence supports that story. It belongs to folklore, not to the historical record of Baalbek. The real builders were Roman-era engineers, and their methods, while extraordinary, followed physics, not myth or magic. Recent research gives us our clearest evidence yet, and it starts with something almost too small to notice: tool marks. In 2026, researchers mapped the direction and depth of chisel scars across a section of the quarry called Sector 3. By reading those marks, they reconstructed the exact sequence workers used to free each block from solid bedrock. The pattern matched perfectly across the 800-ton trilithon stones and the still buried 1,650-ton giant beside them. That single detail rules out a popular theory that the largest stone was some kind of failed experiment. It was cut using the same proven method as every other successful stone at the site, not an outlier. Which raises the real mystery even higher. If the method worked, why does this particular stone still sit unfinished? A separate engineering study modeled the ramps and levers Roman crews would have needed to move blocks this size. That research placed the temple's main construction after the reign of Herod the Great in the 1st or 2nd century. This dates the effort to direct Roman imperial sponsorship, a massive state-funded undertaking, not a local vanity project. Historian Jean-Pierre Adam calculated that moving a single 557-ton stone using rollers and pulleys required roughly 512 workers. Scale that math up toward 1,650 tons, and the workforce required climbs into the thousands, coordinated to the second. Evidence at the site shows the quarry sat slightly higher than the temple, meaning gravity briefly worked in their favor. Stones were likely lowered onto wooden rollers, then dragged along earthen ramps built specifically for this one purpose. Ropes, timber sledges, and teams moving in rhythm could theoretically inch even a stone this size forward, foot by foot. This is the leading scientific theory, supported by tool evidence, terrain analysis, and comparison with other Roman engineering projects. Fringe theories involving lost technology or outside intervention exist online, but no verified evidence supports any of them. The real story doesn't need aliens. A coordinated ancient workforce moving stone by brute, disciplined engineering is remarkable enough. But engineering explains how they could move it. It does not explain why they eventually stopped moving it. This is where fact gives way to informed theory, and historians remain genuinely divided on the answer. One explanation is technical failure. A single miscalculated ramp angle or a slip in lubrication could have jammed the stone. Any damage to a corner this size could have rendered months of labor instantly worthless, forcing crews to reassess. A second theory is financial or political. Roman building priorities shifted often, and funding could vanish overnight. Once the temple's essential platform was structurally complete, 3 colossal spare stones may simply have stopped being necessary. There is no verified historical evidence confirming which explanation is correct. Both remain informed, competing theories today. What we do know is unusually well documented for something this old. The tool marks, the ramps, the dimensions, the density. What we don't know is the one detail that would matter most. What happened on the specific day work stopped. No inscription explains it. No Roman record survives to describe abandoning a nearly 2,000-ton engineering investment. The silence itself has become part of the mystery, as loud in its own way as the stone is heavy. For nearly 2,000 years, 3 enormous stones have sat exactly where their final workers left them, mid-task. The forgotten stone remains partly unexcavated even now, its true bottom, its true weight, still not fully confirmed. Every tool mark on its surface is a record of a decision made by a person whose name we'll never know. That person believed this stone was worth cutting, worth moving, worth risking, until for some reason they stopped believing it. Modern engineers studying Baalbek describe it as a real case study in what happens at the edge of technical capability. It's a problem we still face today, whenever ambition outruns what our best equipment can actually deliver. Baalbek doesn't ask us to believe in giants or lost civilizations. It asks something harder, that we sit with not knowing. The stone is still there, half in the earth, exactly as heavy and exactly as unexplained as the day they left it. Which theory feels more likely to you? A technical failure or a change in priorities nearly 2,000 years ago? Tell us in the comments and subscribe to Arcanum Studio for more investigations into history's unfinished mysteries.